I'm calling out all Jund boomers out there. You're hearing me? Put the hearing aid in, because I have a message for you. Get the reading glasses on so that you can see what I'm about to show you. And lastly, put the diaper on before you shit yourself, because you're going to get right back in there with rakdos. Everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master. And I have been saying for a very long time that Jund, it needs to make some adjustments, some adaptations. There's a lot of good cards in the Jund deck. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Thoughtseize and Lightning Bolt, but it needs to change. It needs to step up their game, adopt the new cards of 2019 and 2020, and this does it better than anything else. Guess what? Who would have thought that the best way to adapt the Jund deck is to throw away the green? That's right. I'm sorry you have to hear that, boomers, but you got to basically take your Tarmogoyfs, take it out of the deck, de-sleeve them. Make sure you don't get the tears on the Tarmogoyf. They're still worth money. Do not cry on your Tarmogoyf. Put them back in the trade binder, because you got to adopt Rakdos. This is a deck so powerful that it is winning in the metagame. It is not a combo deck. It's not an Uro deck. It's not a Primeval Titan deck. And it's not playing any companion. That is how damn good this deck is in the metagame. And I think the Jund players would love to hear about it. So let's go. The premier card that they're going to be playing in this deck is Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. So they're not playing Primeval Titan, not playing an Uro, but you're playing a Titan yourself. This is value. 2 mana, make your opponent discard a card, and make no mistake, this card will finish off a lot of opponents, because once you escape it, it's a 6/6 creature that is effectively dealing 9 damage a turn, because after it attacks, very likely your opponent doesn't have anything good to discard, and they're taking a ton of damage. Magmatic Chandler. I hate this card! As long as there are 4 more instants or sorcery cards in your graveyard, it gets +3/+1. But here's the deal. You can discard a card to exile the top 2 cards of your library. Then you get to choose one of them and play that card this turn. It could be lands. It could be spells. You dig 2 cards deep. The thing is, you don't pay any mana for this. This is free. You just tap the damn thing. It's like Merfolk Looter on steroids. Oh, by the way, this Merfolk Looter, it gets to become a 4/4 creature in the end. That's right, +3/+1. It's backbreaking. I'm telling you this right now. I, as a Merfolk deck, have never beaten this card if my opponent is untapped with it. It will always dig for something good. It will always bring the gas. How did Jund live without this card for so long? It's been adopted by Rakdos. Bone Crusher Giant. You like value? This is value. Basically kills most of the relevant creatures in the metagame, can shoot the opponent's face. It's just randomly a good 4/3 creature. So Kroxa's value, Magmatic Chandler's value, Bone Crusher Giant's value, you better believe. Seasoned Pyromancer is value. Basically, if you're empty-handed, just play this 2/2 creature and draw 2 cards. Not bad. Also can filter for the cards that you need, or discard the cards to turn on your Magmatic Chandler, or give you the ability to escape the Kroxa by next turn. Seasoned Pyromancer, they fucking laughed at this card. Oh, this is never going to stand up to what Faithless Looting was. Oh, this is never going to hold a candle to what Faithless Looting did to the Mardu decks and so on. This card is now like one of the most popular cards in Modern. Basically, if you're a red deck, I think the only red deck not playing Seasoned Pyromancer is like literally Burn, and maybe it should. Seasoned Pyromancer is so much value. Again, draw 2 cards for nothing. I mean, it's basically Ancestral Recall for 3 mana, because you get a creature in addition to 2 extra cards, and if it dies, you have a Lingering Souls. I mean, the value is value all over the place. Liliana of the Veil, and you know what? I have to admit, Liliana is actually not too bad in combination with all the other removal spells at holding back Uro. I mean, I have definitely been beaten by the Liliana Kroxa combo. I've also beaten that combo, but at least it is enough to hold the Uro decks at bay. So you can, because if you only have 1 creature in play, okay, well, just sack it. Hey, good luck filling your graveyard now, Uro, because you gotta still race this Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, dealing 9 damage to you. But Liliana of the Veil still also relatively okay against a lot of the combo decks that we see in the metagame. Ticking up is still worthwhile. And then, of course, it is the Jund suite of removal, minus the Abrupt Decays and Assassin's Trophy, because screw those cards, who needs them? Fatal Push, Inquisition of Kozilek for all the combo decks, Lightning Bolt, Thoughtseize for all the combo decks, and Dreadbore. You gotta kill those Planeswalkers. Teferi Time Reveler, Jace the Mind Sculptor, Teferi Hero of Dominaria. They're out there. But there's also creatures out there. You can kill any creature with this. And here's the sweet part about this deck. A lot of the Titan decks and the Uro decks, they're all weak to Blood Moon. So you can just randomly play Blood Moon. And probably another reason why you don't want to run the green. You don't want to Blood Moon yourself out there. You got to be careful. Blood Moon's so powerful at the moment, is the I Win card. And this deck not only plays it very well because you're only 2 colors. So you drop the green so you can more effectively play Blood Moon. This card is also very good in this deck because it's almost never dead. You can exchange it for a Pyromancer token, people, all right? You could discard it with your Magmatic Channeler and find something better. So these aren't just dead cards. You get your 2nd, 3rd Blood Moon in hand. You're probably recycling it with one of your other cards. It's going to be totally fine. There's no problem here. So this deck not only gets to play Blood Moon proactively, does not trip up on their own Blood Moon, but can also discard it in the situations where it's a dead card in the matchup or you're drawing your 2nd or 3rd one, so you don't need it anymore. This deck has all the answers to anything in the metagame. Okay, it's like all the creature-based decks. You're gonna push them down. You're gonna push them to death, and you're gonna find infinite value. I mean, it's insane. This deck is going to compete with the value of the Lurrus decks, which is insane. It's going toe-to-toe with it because of so much value and card advantage. It's really hard to grind this deck out. It's insanely hard. So Blackleaf Cliffs, 3 Blood Crypt, 4 Bloodstained Mire, 2 Mountain, 4 Polluted Delta, 5 Swamps. We're running Engineered Explosives in the sideboard. Engineered Explosives is back to beat the Hammer Time decks, to beat the Prowess decks. Engineered Explosives has found a place in the metagame. Nihil Spellbomb for those Uro decks. Oh, are you getting to enough, getting to 5 cards to escape that Uro? Boom! Goodbye, Graveyard. Screw your Graveyard. Fuck it. Fuck Uro. It's gone. Nihil Spellbomb. Pithing Needle. Very applicable against a lot of archetypes. You don't want to randomly lose to a Charbelcher deck. That's why you got the Pithing Needle in there. Turn 1, Goblin Charbelcher, and then start eating their hand away every other turn. You'll be protected, and you'll deal with them very easily. Soul Guide Lantern, again, more graveyard hate for all the graveyard decks. Dragon's Claw, help you keep your head above water versus the Prowess decks and the Burn decks. Dreadbore extra removal. Kolaghan's Command. It's a sweet thing to blow up that hammer and kill the Pure Steel Paladin at the same time, just wiping out their board. Also pretty relevant against the Stoneforge decks. Even if they get a Batterskull out, it's going to be dealt with. The 5 mana artifact gets blown up by the 3 mana instant removal spell while also killing off another creature in the process. Make sure you don't tap out, Uro decks. You sure you want to do that? Also, be careful playing your Dryad of the Elysian Grove, you Titan decks. Do you really want to play that Dryad? Sometimes you're just forced to, and boom, you got it. You're going to get hit by the boil. And 1 extra Kalidas, Traitor of Get. I hate playing against this deck. You know, traditionally, I've been able to grind out all the Jund decks. Like, Jund has feared Merfolk for years. You know, it was always assumed, oh, they've got infinite removal. They're going to have a great game against Merfolk. But then when you actually play the matchup, it's not quite the same. They just get screwed by Spreading Seas. They get hammered by the card advantage of Mutavault and Silvergill Adapt. They've never been able to compete with against Merfolk. But this deck can. It's just a 2-color deck. It can sometimes wipe me out if I'm playing Simic with their Blood Moon. They've got too much value with Seasoned Pyromancer, with Bone Crusher Giant. I hate it when they kill one of my creatures, and I know I have to deal with a 4/3 creature later. I've never, ever ground out this card. It's like, I have to have a Dismember for this thing or I'm bust. And even if I do, they might have another one. I still have to deal with all this other garbage. Not to mention, like, conventional removal spells are really suck against this deck because they've already got value. If they got a Crocs out, if you spend a Fatal Push on it, you still discarded a card. Your only opportunity for getting 1-1 is by killing the Magmatic Channeler. If you killed the Bone Crusher Giant, they dealt damage somewhere else, and also they got value off of Seasoned Pyromancer. This deck has all of its bases covered, and boomers, if you want to get back into the game, get back into it, you can do it online with Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. Your pension checks and old age security can easily afford Mana Traders monthly rates, and you can support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or you can save yourself 15% over your first 3 months by using my coupon code Nikachu. With that 15% saved, you'll still be able to afford Viagra.